Hello everyone, we are very happy to be here in Acapulco. My name is Gabriel and I come from Monterrey. My brother and I, we are fraternal twin brothers, and we are civil engineers. We studied a master's degree in Stockholm, Sweden. We are world travelers. We have participated, I'll give a little introduction of who we are. We participated in 2 reality shows, Amazing Race in 2009, Latino Amazing Race, and then into which we didn't win, unfortunately, and then 6 years after, Televisión Azteca invited us for a second reality show, which was also about traveling and doing some exploration in the world, and we were the winners. Here.
Hello everyone. First of all, I want to thank Acapulco. This has been a fascinating ride, meeting people, like-minded people who are in the same idea, same, just basic ideas of freedom. And so yeah, thank you Ernie for a nice presentation. And yeah, exactly like what Ernie was talking about, something very important of how this all began. This is our journey into creating sustainable communities. It began by basically the idea for just having a freer life, right? And just being free from. There are different kinds of freedoms. We'll talk about it in the slides that we have, but just basically, just having the freedom to be the owner of your time was just one of the most important things that motivated us to do this, because we're working like the 9-to-5 job, which is actually like 8 to 6 here in Mexico, and the pay is even worse, so it's terrible. And then you get stuck just like, living this life or just working and just like, you're giving your time, which is the most important thing that we have is our time. And you end up seeing that, you're just kind of giving your time away to this work or whatever. So just is how it began. So we're like, okay, I want to create a place where I can be the owner of my time, and I can grow my own food, and and just I can be free also from an economic aspect into bills, and just like you have to pay more bills, and it's the electric bill, and then there's the water bill, and then there's the credit card bill, and then there's like the food bill, etc. So it's like, okay, we created sustainable community. Like nature can provide much of those things for us if we work in a community where we can. When we work for that, we raise our own food, we have our own water supply, we get energy from the sun, and we have more time for ourselves, to do the things that you love. I am a musician, I love playing music, so, I have more time to play my guitar, do some singing or whatever. And so this is basically how it all began. And so we prepare like this video presentation about our concept, our eco village. It's called Eco Aldea Poxil, so it's Poxil Eco Village. Poxil, I'll tell you what it means. So Poxil is a word in Maya because our community is in Maya land. So the Mayan civilization is down south, Chichen Itza, Cobá, and the Mayan people, very, very interesting culture, as you might know. And so we're down south in the Yucatan Peninsula. And so we're just gonna begin like showing you a video of what we're about, what our eco villages is about.
La mayor cantidad de gente vive en lo que le llamamos la selva de concreto, es decir, es una selva de máquinas, de cables, de concreto, de carros y de todos los ruidos que esto genera y que crea cierto estrés. El proyecto va a ser una aldea, una comunidad, gente que respeta la naturaleza, gente meditativa, que pueda tener la posibilidad de estar más tiempo consigo mismos, una nueva dirección. La Riviera Maya es realmente un paraíso terrenal por la flora y fauna que tenemos, las playas hermosas, por los cenotes que son únicos en el mundo y por la cultura de los mayas. Estamos en una zona, en un vecindario sumamente privilegiado. Hay mucho sol, hay mucha agua. Tenemos muchísima agua por debajo en el subsuelo, en los mantos acuíferos de los cenotes. Las lluvias constantes, tierra muy fértil. Las tierras están cargadas de nutrientes, selva alta, frutas, huertos y todo lo que se necesita para poder subsistir en una manera armoniosa con la naturaleza.
El cenote es una cosa espectacular. Imagínate que tienes dos agujeros en la tierra, en medio un árbol, increíble que las raíces del árbol te llevan al cenote aproximadamente unos 15 metros de altura. Es circular, es una bóveda aproximadamente entre 50 y 60 metros de diámetro. Mi hermano y yo nos gusta bajar por las raíces. Lo más bello que he vivido en toda mi vida es estar dentro de este cenote. Es una joya que estamos por descubrir.
Nuestra intención es hacer este tipo de desarrollos ecológicos, respetar y cuidar la naturaleza, teniendo un alto porcentaje de conservación. Vivir aquí en una habitación de una vivienda ecológica de este tipo te da una armonía y una paz interna. Levantarte ante los sonidos de los pájaros por la mañana, te sientes más fresco, te sientes más feliz, te sientes menos estresado. Tiene muchísimos beneficios este estilo de vida. Vale la pena conocer ese tipo de experiencia y eso es lo que nos estamos ofreciendo dentro de nuestra Ecoaldea Poxil.
Queremos compartir esta experiencia con el público en general, con la gente. Para eso estamos creando una comunidad. Darle la oportunidad a la gente de convivir en armonía en una comunidad con un cenote no tiene precio.
This is Ecoaldea Poxil, and we want to share our vision with everyone. We've been working in this project for many years. My brother and I, we started thinking about building our own community since 2007, because I don't know if you remember that the end of times in 2012, you remember that everyone was prepping because what's going to happen, the end of the world and so forth. So we bought our first property in Tulum, in kilometer 8, with water, with cenote. My brother and I, the thing that we always vision is that the next commodity is going to be water. Everyone knows that water is precious, and probably in the future, nations are going to fight over the rights of water. So having water in the property is most important. Okay, and then after having water, then you need red soil or very fertile soil for raising your crops. Very important, the soil. And then after this, it's very important to build infrastructure. And then after building the infrastructure, is very important, most important is to make a very clean, nice, like-minded community of people who share the same values, who share the same vision. Because you don't want a bad person to ruin all the atmosphere in our community. So right now here in Acapulco, it's an opportunity that everyone knows us and we know you guys. So also, as my brother is going to mention in the next slides, the legality is number one. Is one of the most important factors. My brother is going to talk about the legal framework, and so we're going to run through a few slides. Willie?
Yeah, before we get into like the legal framework, which is one of the most important things that we're going to talk about today, just like as a foreigner, what things you need to look after and what things you need to beware when making a real estate investment in Mexico as a foreigner. Because there are restrictive zones and there's just things that you need to know before you go into spending your hard-earned money into an investment. So let's just go quickly by, again, with what we were mentioning, like how did it all begin, right? It began with a sense of having a freedom lifestyle, right? A lifestyle that's more based on having more freedom from like the establishment, meaning that, the man or whatever, all these rules and regulations that are set up by government and so forth, that tells you how you have to behave, what you need to do, what you can do, what you can't do. And so just kind of like doing our own thing, and just that's one of those freedoms. Freedom from eating all this food that's contaminated. Like the nicer you see a piece of fruit or vegetable, the more GMOs it's likely to have, because it's all like, the nicer it looks, it's most likely to have lots of GMOs, and everything's like fertilizers, conservatives, growth hormones,
And all that goes into your body, right? And you know, we have different tolerance levels for this kind of chemicals. Some people have stronger reactions, and this can come in form of a cancer, or it can just, nothing can happen to you. You can live to be 100 years old and nothing happen, of course. But there are bodies that are more sensible to this. So just being able to grow your own food is, I think it's something that's very liberating, so something very good for health reasons. So that's why I put that there as well. So food, and of course, time being super important. But okay, so also, how do you begin an ecological community in this land that they're Maya, right? They're Maya land, and we don't look Maya, right? So because Mexico is very diverse, right? This is why Mexico is so interesting, because we have 290 different dialects with 65 different indigenous groups, and everybody has their own thing, everybody has their own customs, their own beliefs, their own gods and something. So it's really very diverse, and I think that's one of the fascinating things about this country. And even as a Mexican, you know, like I am with the Mayas, and they don't see me like the same, you know. But there's no bad vibes upon it. It's just like, you know, they speak their own language. So you have to befriend them. You have to befriend the community. You have to befriend, because you're in their land in a certain way, and they see us like, you know, like the white man, you know, like that they conquer their land, and that really happened, right? The Spanish came and they conquered all the Mayas, and they were submitted to whatever, you know, to losing their religious ideas, whatever, right? So they have that kind of resentment, but it's not, you know, yours have passed, it's not that strong. So you need to befriend the Mayan community, and that's one of those important things that we needed to do. And, you know, just like looking after their interests, and, you know, like, and also like giving job opportunities to them. And, you know, this is their land, so we have to negotiate like real estate transactions with these people, and just trying to make it the best way, most correct way possible, right? Okay, so what is needed to create an ecological, sustainable community based on ideas of permaculture and sustainability? So naturally, you need a parcel of land, and we'll get into that, into the specifics of property ownership in a little while. We're just now kind of like focusing a little bit on our eco village. And so, and what really creates sustainable communities. So first, you obviously need a parcel of land, which needs to have the correct legal framework, which is super important, because if you're investing money in the community, you know, you're constructing your house, and, you know, it's your hard-earned money. And then if you end up finding out that the legality behind the land is not like legit, does not have the correct legal framework, you won't like that. It will be like very stressful. So it's not a good experience, and this happens all the time because they don't know what to look for, or what are the correct paperwork that you need to have in order to conduct the correct. So obviously you need a lot of water, so a vast water supply, and this is something that's very good in the Yucatan Peninsula because we have the cenotes, right? And what happened is it just made the land like a Swiss cheese, right? So it has a lot of holes, and these holes like end up having water. And these are what the cenotes are. So we have a lot of water there, which is something that's very important to create a sustainable community, right? So water and fertile land, like land where you can grow crops and you can grow your own food, right? And so that's another thing, having the manpower to be able to bring heavy machinery, such as the backhoes we were talking about earlier, and just machinery and manpower, right? You need this to work, right? And so, of course, you need energy. So energy, we work with alternative sources of energy. There's no power grid, we're off the grid. So this means we have to work with either solar energy or wind energy. We mostly do solar. It's getting cheaper, which is good. And the other very important thing that sometimes is not considered, which should be very, very much considered, is the access roads. Figuring out the problem, this is a problem that many communities have, about this over there in the Yucatan Peninsula, is just having good access roads and constructing good access roads. So that's why I mentioned that. That's an important point to mention. So there are two ways to go about this. First of all, of course, the property should be titled. It should be a property title deed, right? That holds the property, that is registered in the public registry of property and commerce. Like I mentioned, we'll get more into specifics into that later. But that's very important. So you need to have like the correct legal framework. So there are two ways. Once you have that, then there are two ways you can do this. You can either do
all the community, we're maybe like 50 members, and we all go inside the same property title deeds, okay? And if we do that, then we will dictate what percentage each community member has over the general property. For example, we'll go in 10, in 10, which is an easy way to calculate. Let's suppose we're buying a 10-hectare property, right? That's 100,000 square meters. So that means we will put into the property title deeds, we all pay the same amount. So we will put in the property title deed, there will be the names of the 10 people who are holding that property. And there will be in the deed, there's a percentage. Cobb, 10%. Gabriel Villarreal, 10%. And so forth. And that's how the property deed is dictated. So then we all own the whole property. And this is a way, like, it has a stronger sense of community because we all own the land. And it's all like shared in different percentages. That deed will not tell you exactly what part of the property is yours and what part is your neighbor's. It's just all for all. That's how it works. But that will give you a sense of real control, like legal control over the property. So that's a good way to do it. You're safe, basically. The other way to do it is you have those 10 hectares. So you go with Catastro, you say, you know what, I want to do this project, and you have to go under certain alignments. You have to yield like 15% for common areas and so forth. And then you can eventually like separate the property into different individual property title deeds. You know, it's just more bureaucratic, but those are two different ways of going about property ownership in an ecological community, where you are like safe legally in that. Okay, so these are some pictures of our project, you know, of what we've done, the houses, the common areas. So you see we have like, we try to focus on project on permaculture as well. So what is permaculture? The culture of permanence or whatever. It's just kind of like you work with what you have, right? So here you can see the constructions have like a lot of rock. You can see that's a temazcal. It's a sweat lodge, basically. It's a Mayan sweat lodge. And so it's all built with rocks from the same place. It's all, we use the wood from the area, we use the rocks from the area. So we try to create something that's based on permaculture. So that means working with the resources that we have available there instead of bringing other resources from abroad and just putting them there. Right? And let's see. So a lot of wood, you know, we have good carpenters. You can see this, like, it's actually really good carpentry work. And okay, so we have our private cenote, which we don't like to brag about, but it's actually extremely beautiful. It's like overwhelmingly beautiful.
We're gonna show you, my friends, we're gonna show you now a video. We prepared a video so that you can actually see our cenote. So
what is a cenote? So like I mentioned, these are the holes that were created underground when the asteroid hit the big rock hit Earth.
In English, many people call cenotes sinkhole. Yeah, sinkhole, and we have like we're preparing with water, as you can see. And this sinkhole, we use it for the water. We can use it for washing ourselves, for cooking, for everything, for growing crops. So one very important thing, my friends, when you are considering a community or buying some piece of land in Mexico or elsewhere, is this water. Water is the next commodity. And also we can have fun inside the cenote. We can go swimming, we can make a Mayan ceremony with copal. So this is very interesting. And I'll tell you a little story. Many Mayan people are afraid of going inside the cenotes. Why? Because it's the entrance to the other side, to la entrada al más allá. Xibalba.
They call it Xibalba.
So they are a little afraid of swimming here because in other cenotes, not in ours, but in other cenotes, you can actually find like bones from animals and these cenotes in the ancient Mayan culture, they were used as a sacrifice for their rituals. Okay? So, and we call it agua azul. It means blue water.
This is drinkable water, right? It's important to mention there's actually like spring water, drinkable water. This is the water that the Maya civilization used. All big civilizations have always been put besides big rivers, you know, whether it's a Nile or whatever. And the big Mayan civilization did not have a river. There are no rivers in the Yucatan Peninsula. So the rivers are underground in the form of cenotes, and that's the water supply for the Maya civilization.
Okay, we're gonna continue with I am the crypto boy, the crypto guy from the team. I started 2 years ago with my crypto realm, and I fell in love with crypto. Crypto is my passion. So one day I was thinking, okay, because we own very big piece of land, okay, so we have to be creative to attract more members into our community. My idea about creating Bitcoin Jungle came about because there is a president which is creating the new Singapore in Latin America, and his name is Nayib Bukele. He's the president for El Salvador. Viva, viva, hermano! Nayib Bukele, he's my hero personally because he is doing Bitcoin City, and then there was a person who decided to buy some land on the coast in El Salvador, and he called it Bitcoin Beach. So I'm like, oh my God, that's incredible. So I'm thinking, what can I do about this Bitcoin thing? You know, I want to attract my crypto enthusiasts. I want to share my enthusiasm and my love about crypto space with everyone. So I'm thinking, and then one day I said, okay, in our Eco Village, one area I'm going to designate it specifically for all of you and all of us who are crypto lovers, crypto enthusiasts. Okay, so right now everything is on paper. We're gonna start building this summer Bitcoin Jungle, and so you can imagine having like your crypto hub in the middle of the Mayan jungle. Okay, so what else? What are you gonna have in the Bitcoin Jungle, Gabo? Because in Bitcoin Jungle we're gonna have an academy, crypto academy, and so in this circle on the ground floor we're gonna have offices. We're gonna have space for sharing all of our ideas, okay, and exposing like right now here. And then on the second floor we're gonna have living space, you know, like 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms for couples or single people. So in the future you can have you can join us and spend 1 week retreats learning about crypto space, because I met a few people here in Acapulco who want to start doing business with crypto, but they don't know about the blockchain technology. So I want to help them, because blockchain, it's the smart contracts is incredible, because my brothers, you cannot manipulate a smart contract. And in Mexico, talking about real estate, the president and the governors and all of the politicians are stealing the best lands on the coasts, on the Caribbean. They basically use prestanombres. It's a friend or the maid or the chauffeur. They put the land under their name, and then, you know, eventually after 20 years they do this dirty business. So with blockchain technology, there is no manipulation. We have the miners validating all the hash. So this is going to be incredible. In the near future, we want to start also selling our lots with smart chain smart contracts. Okay, so Bitcoin Jungle is a baby still. You can see 2022. Okay, we have not built anything yet. It's all in paper. It's an idea, and I want to explore this idea with all of you, and you can bring also your ideas into Bitcoin Jungle. And I can foresee in the future that this jungle hub, crypto hub, and crypto enthusiasts, we can replicate this in Rio de Janeiro. We can replicate this in Bali. We can replicate anywhere where there's jungle, where there's water, and where there's crypto lovers. Okay. So my brother and I, we got interviewed by Vice News last year, and so, but we had a lot of fun, and they came, as my brother mentioned, we got extremely lucky that from all the different eco villages in Mexico, they chose ours. Why they chose ours? Maybe because of spirit, maybe because of what we are doing, or maybe because she liked the Mexican brothers, I don't know, but they got in contact with us, and we accepted to come and record our village. And we're going to share with you the link of YouTube. Okay, so this is part, you can see it later. Okay, so my brother is going to continue with legal framework.
We're going to now get into like the boring stuff, the technical boring stuff, but indeed the most important. So yeah, legal framework behind real estate investments in Mexico. So when you do this, obviously it's like due diligence, right? So you have to do due diligence, but just you have to do it yourself. I mean, it's advisable that you get a lawyer, right? You can just get a lawyer and, you know what, like, just guide me through the process. But there's nothing better than you knowing what you need to look for, right? So this is kind of what I want to guide you guys through, like just knowing what you need to look for when wanting to do a real estate investment in this country as a foreigner. So like I say, although you hire, so there are different forms. I'm going to get into the specifics of what are the different forms of owning real estate in Mexico. And so there are basically three. And I'm going to begin with the red ones, with the negative ones that you need to look after. And so there are basically two ways that Mexicans can, and I'm saying Mexicans, like national people can own land. Well, there are three ways, but I'm going to concentrate on the ones that you as a foreigner cannot own. So yeah, it's called ejido land, right? What is an ejido land? Ejido land is communal land. So it's basically like this, like Mexico, as a Mexican, you have the right to claim land from the nation, okay? So you have to go to the National Registro Agrario Nacional, so it's the National Agrarian Registry. This is what you want, private title deed, basically, you know, something that's under your name. And there are just like, I'll quickly mention, like there are restriction zones where you can buy legally as a Mexican. You need to buy through a bank trust. Many of you guys know this, but so this is basically 50 kilometers from all the shores of Mexico. You can't buy directly under your name. It has to be done through a bank trust, and it costs approximately like $2,000 to set it up, and it's like $600 every year to maintain. But do keep in mind that the property title deed is not under your name. So
4 minutes.
4 minutes. Okay, so that's. And so the restricted zones are 50 kilometers from the shore, and it's 100 kilometers from the borders between the United States, Belize, and Guatemala. So those are the restricted zones where you do need a bank trust. And so what do you need to, what is the due diligence that you need to look for? I'm going to just go through this really as fast as I can. But so there are like, this is what you want. If you have a seller, you want to ask him for the following information. You want to ask him for a property title deed. You want to ask him for the folio. It's called Folio Electrónico de la Propiedad. So it's a unique electronic identification number that is registered on the public registry of property and commerce. And this is public information. So this means you can go to the public registry of property and commerce with this identification number, and that will give you the information of the owner, whether it has liens, whether it has an encumbrance, everything about the property, like the dimensions of the property, so that you know exactly what you're buying. So that's something that you will need to look for when knowing that you're going in the right way. So you need the unique electronic identification number. It's called Folio Electrónico de la Propiedad. You need cédula catastral, which is basically like the ID of the property. It states who's the owner. So, and that's basically will give you all the information of the property. And so this number can be used. So basically what you want to do is go to the public registry of private property. And we can get into the specifics in the workshop more tomorrow. So I just kind of have to go through this fast because we don't have much time. And so yeah, what does these are the government dependencies. One is Catastro, which is the one that regulates all like property limits, surveys, etc. And so they basically regulate property limits, subdivision. They handle the property taxes, zoning laws, appraisals, topography.
and in the public registry of commerce. So they basically regulate all the records of all the properties, who owned it previously, who was the previous owner, who owned it in 1949, and then in 1960 it came into the hands of somebody else, and then, you know, so you have all that history is recorded in that registry. So that's what you need to look for.
So this is our contact information, my friends. Don't worry, we're gonna do a workshop tomorrow, workshop Tuesday, workshop Thursday. We're gonna talk about all the legal framework and how you as foreign investors, you can approach the best way, the safest way to buy a condo, a house, or land. We want to make a donation because
he's gonna pull it out real quick. So what he has is he's going to auction, or I'm going to auction. He's donating. He's going to donate 1 ounce of silver. That's beautiful Mexican silver, pure Mexican silver coin. I believe it was minted in 2022, so fairly recent. And then what else? Tell me about that.
I want to give everyone a little tip of what I do personally. This I carry with me because you know that money attracts money, right? Everyone knows this, right? Yes? So money attracts money. So I highly recommend that always carry a gold coin, okay, or a silver coin, or any kind of coin, not pesos or dollars or like this, you know, like a special coin. So I carry this coin, and I always carry 2 coins. Because one for me and one I give out for a special person. Because friends, brothers and sisters, sharing is caring. And when you meet a special soul, like my brother over here, then it's my obligation to transfer my love to him, brother.